They expected you to react. They expected you to argue, to defend yourself, to come back angry, to chase, to beg, to break. But you didn't. You went quiet. You went calm. You went about your life like they didn't exist. And that silence drove them absolutely insane. Because here's what most people don't understand. Ignoring someone the right way is not weakness. It is the most powerful thing you can do to another person. And the Stoics knew this over 2,000 years ago. They built a philosophy around it. 7 specific secrets that turn your silence into strength, your stillness into dominance, and your peace into the greatest weapon you'll ever carry. Stay with me. Because by the end of this, you'll never react the same way again. Why the Stoics chose silence. Marcus Aurelius was the most powerful man on earth. Emperor of Rome, commander of armies, ruler of millions. And yet, when senators plotted against him, when advisors betrayed him, when enemies mocked him from afar, he didn't rage. He didn't retaliate publicly. He didn't even acknowledge most of it. He wrote in his journal. He went back to his work. He remained unmoved. And his enemies? They spiraled. They grew desperate. They made mistakes. Because they couldn't get a reaction out of him. Epictetus, a former slave who became one of the greatest philosophers in history, said it plainly. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. And the Stoics discovered something that psychology is only now beginning to confirm. When you refuse to react, when you choose intentional, deliberate silence, you don't just protect your peace. You transfer the chaos to the other person. Their need to provoke you becomes their prison. Your stillness becomes your throne. These are the 7 Stoic secrets to ignoring people so completely, so powerfully, that they lose control while you gain everything. Secret 1. Withdraw your attention like withdrawing oxygen. The Stoics understood one thing that most people miss completely. Attention is currency, and you are the bank. Every time you react to someone, every time you argue, defend, explain, or even acknowledge their provocations, you are paying them. You are depositing energy into their account. And they get richer off your reactions while you get poorer. Epictetus said, if someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. Let that land. They can only provoke you if you participate. The moment you withdraw your attention, truly, completely, without performance, you cut off their supply. And what happens when you cut off someone's oxygen? They panic. Think about the people in your life who thrive on drama, who push buttons, who start arguments, who send provocative messages, who make jabs in group settings. What are they really looking for? A reaction. They need to know they matter. They need to know they got to you. They need the confirmation that they have some kind of power over you. Your reaction is their reward. So stop rewarding bad behavior. Not with anger. Not with silence that broadcasts how hurt you are. Not with passive-aggressive hints that show you're affected. True withdrawal. Complete withdrawal. Go on with your life as though they are a stranger on a train you will never see again. Post your wins. Pursue your goals. Smile genuinely. Flourish. And watch what happens. The person who expected to see you crumble starts to crumble themselves. Because they didn't get what they came for. And a predator with no prey becomes desperate. The Stoic practice. Every time you feel the urge to respond to a provocation, pause. Ask yourself, am I about to pay this person with my energy? If the answer is yes, put your wallet away. Silence is not always indifference. Sometimes it is the loudest statement you can make. Secret 2. Protect your inner citadel. Marcus Aurelius had a concept he returned to again and again in his private writings. He called it the inner citadel. The idea was simple but profound. There is a place inside you, a fortress, that no one can touch without your permission. Not your enemies, not your critics, not the people who betrayed you, not the ones who mock you, not even the people you love most. Your thoughts, your values, your character, your peace. These live in the inner citadel. And the Stoics believe that as long as you protect what lives in there, you are unconquerable. Marcus wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Here's how this connects to ignoring people. Most of us, when someone disrespects us, lets us down, or tries to provoke us, we open the gates. We let their words in. We let their actions define how we feel. We let their chaos become our chaos. We hand over the keys to our citadel. And then we wonder why we feel out of control. The Stoic secret is to recognize that you are the gatekeeper. You decide what enters. You decide what gets to affect you. Someone talks badly about you. That is outside the citadel. It cannot enter unless you carry it in yourself. Someone ignores you to provoke a reaction. That is outside. It has no power in here. Someone tries to make you feel small, irrelevant, disposable. Outside. You don't have to let it in. This is not denial. You're not pretending the attacks don't exist. You're simply refusing to import the chaos into your inner world. Here's the practical reality. When you truly protect your inner citadel, when you genuinely stop letting outside provocations set the temperature of your emotional life, something shifts in how you carry yourself. You walk differently. You speak differently. You look at people differently. Not with arrogance, with stillness. And that stillness is terrifying to people who expected to get under your skin, because they realize they never had the access they thought they did. Your citadel was always locked. They were just yelling at the walls. Secret 3. Let them reveal themselves. Here is one of the most powerful and underused Stoic weapons. Silence makes people talk. And when people talk long enough without a reaction from you, they reveal everything. They reveal their insecurities, their motives, their fears, their true character. Seneca wrote, "Silence is a lesson learned from the many sufferings of life." He understood that the person who speaks less observes more. And the person who observes more holds the real power in any situation. Think about how this plays out in real conflicts. When you react, when you argue back, defend yourself, fire accusations, the conversation becomes noise. Both sides are loud. Both sides are reactive. It becomes impossible to see clearly. But when you go quiet, when you simply watch, the other person has to fill the silence. And they fill it with themselves. They over-explain. They contradict themselves. They get louder, more erratic, more extreme in their attempts to get a rise out of you. And every word they speak is a brushstroke on a portrait of who they really are. You're not just ignoring them. You're learning them. You're watching their character reveal itself in the absence of your resistance. This is why the most strategic people in history were often the quietest in the room. They didn't compete for airtime. They observed. They cataloged. They understood who they were dealing with at the deepest level. And when the time came to act, they acted with perfect precision. Because they had information no one else bothered to collect. Apply this today. The next time someone comes at you, with drama, with manipulation, with provocations, resist the urge to match their energy. Instead, go quiet and watch. Ask yourself, what is this behavior actually revealing about them? What fear is underneath this aggression? What wound is driving this manipulation? What insecurity is powering this need to provoke me? When you see people that clearly, their provocations lose almost all of their power. Because you're not dealing with a threat anymore. You're observing a pattern. And patterns can be managed, anticipated, stepped around. While they're trying to shake you, you're quietly building a complete understanding of them. That is not weakness. That is mastery. Secret 4. Use their reaction as your mirror. The Stoics had a radical idea about enemies and critics. They believed that the people who oppose you, who challenge you, who try to provoke you, who come at you, are actually one of your greatest teachers. Not because they're right about you, but because of what your reaction to them reveals about you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." When someone tries to get under your skin and they succeed, that tells you something. It tells you where your ego is fragile. It tells you where your confidence is still dependent on others' opinions. It tells you where you haven't yet done the inner work. This is not about blaming yourself. This is about using every provocation as data. Every time you feel that spike, that hot flash of anger, that defensive surge, that desperate need to respond and be understood, ask, why does this bother me so much? Not as self-criticism, as genuine curiosity. Because the things that move you most are always pointing at something inside you that still needs attention. Maybe someone calls you lazy and it stings because deep down you're afraid they're right. Maybe someone ignores you and it breaks you because you've tied your worth to being chosen. Maybe someone dismisses your work and you collapse because your confidence is still resting on external validation. These are not character flaws. They are growth edges. And the provocations of your enemies are, if you're willing to look at them honestly, a free map to where you still need to grow. The Stoic practice. Instead of reacting to provocations, study them. Keep a mental note, or even a physical one. What triggered me today? Why? What does that reveal? Over time, you will find that the things that used to destroy you, the comments, the rejections, the dismissals, barely register. Not because you've become numb, because you've done the work that the provocation was pointing to. And now there's nothing there to touch. Secret 5. Master the art of strategic disappearance. The Stoics valued something they called recollection, the deliberate act of retreating from the noise of the world to reconnect with yourself. Marcus Aurelius, even as emperor with 1,000 demands on his time, wrote about the importance of retreating inward. He said, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." This is the 5th secret, and it's one of the most misunderstood. Strategic disappearance. Not running away. Not sulking. Not hiding in defeat. Deliberate, powerful withdrawal from people and situations that are consuming your energy without adding value to your life. Here's the thing about people who constantly provoke, manipulate, or drain you. They need your presence to operate. They need to be able to see you, reach you, gauge your reactions, confirm their impact. When you disappear, genuinely, quietly, without announcement, you remove the entire stage they were performing on. And suddenly, they don't know what to do. They text. You don't respond. They show up where they expect to find you. You're not there. They talk about you. You say nothing back. They are performing a play with no audience. And a performer with no audience eventually falls apart. This is not manipulation. This is self-preservation. You are choosing to invest your time and energy in places where it grows, not in people who drain it. You are choosing yourself, quietly, without explanation. The key to strategic disappearance. You don't announce it. You don't send a message saying, "I'm done with you." You don't post passive-aggressive quotes. You don't give them the closure of an explanation. You simply redirect your life. Your energy goes into your work, your goals, your real relationships, your health, your growth. And the people who only had power over you because of their access, find that the access is simply gone. Your silence says everything. Your absence speaks volumes. And your flourishing, in the quiet after the storm, is the final word. Secret 6. Respond with results, not words. There is a phrase that the Stoics lived by, even if they didn't use these exact words. Let your life be your argument. When someone doubts you, don't argue with them. Prove them wrong with your results. When someone dismisses you, don't defend yourself. Build something they can't ignore. When someone says you're nothing, don't respond. Become something. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." Not first argue with everyone who doubts you. Not first spend your energy trying to change their minds. First decide who you are. Then do the work. Let the work speak. This is the secret that separates legends from complainers. Complainers spend their energy responding to every slight, every doubt, every dismissal. And all of that energy spent in reaction is energy stolen from creation. Legends don't respond to doubters. They make doubting them look foolish. Think about every great person who was told they couldn't do it. The ones who made it, they didn't sit down and write a 10-point rebuttal to every critic. They went back to work. They used the doubt as fuel, not as a conversation. And years later, sometimes decades later, their results made the argument for them more powerfully than any words ever could have. This is how you ignore people with results. Every time you feel the temptation to defend yourself against someone who underestimates you, close your mouth. Open your notebook. Go back to work. Let the version of you that exists 6 months from now, a year from now, do the talking. That version doesn't need to argue. They just show up. And their mere existence is the most powerful response you could ever give. Secret 7. Become so full that nothing can empty you. This is the final secret. And it's the most important one. All of the previous secrets, withdrawing attention, protecting your inner citadel, letting them reveal themselves, using provocations as mirrors, strategic disappearance, responding with results. They all depend on this one foundation. You must become so internally full that nothing outside you can empty you. The Stoics called this autarkia, self-sufficiency, the state of being complete within yourself, not needing external validation, approval, reactions, or recognition to feel whole. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. The reason other people's provocations work on you is because you have a gap, an emptiness, a place inside that still needs something from the outside world to feel okay. Maybe it's approval, maybe it's recognition, maybe it's love, maybe it's respect. And manipulative, provocative people can smell that gap from miles away. They know exactly which button to push, which wound to poke, because they've found the hole. The permanent, lasting solution to being ungovernable, to being truly untouchable, is to fill the gap yourself. To stop waiting for someone else to tell you that you're worthy. To stop needing the people who hurt you to finally acknowledge your value. To stop requiring their apology, their recognition, their validation before you can move forward. You fill it with your own work, your own standards, your own sense of purpose. You build a relationship with yourself so strong that no outside opinion can shake the foundation. When you are truly full, when you truly know who you are and what you're about, someone calling you worthless is like someone telling you the sky is green. You don't get angry. You don't collapse. You just look at them and keep moving. Because you know what's true. And their words have no purchase on a person who is already standing on solid ground. How to build this fullness. Commit to something larger than the opinions of others. A mission, a craft, a standard of character, a vision of who you're becoming. Invest deeply in your own growth, not to prove anything to anyone, but because you've decided your life is worth investing in. Build a daily practice that fills you before the world has a chance to drain you. Meditation, exercise, learning, creating, praying, journaling. Whatever it is for you, do it daily. Let it be non-negotiable. Because the person who has built themselves up from the inside, who is fed by purpose and grounded in identity, is the most ungovernable human being on earth. People can try to provoke them, can try to manipulate them, can try to destabilize them, and those people will always fail. Because you cannot shake a mountain by pushing it. And that is what you are becoming. The integration, all 7 secrets working together. Let's bring it together. Because each of these secrets is powerful alone. But when you live all 7, when they become not just concepts but instincts, you become someone completely different. You withdraw your attention from people who want your reaction. Secret 1. You protect your inner world from outside chaos. Secret 2. You let provocations reveal the truth about the people creating them. Secret 3. You use every trigger to learn where you still need to grow. Secret 4. You disappear strategically from environments and people that drain you. Secret 5. You respond to doubt and dismissal with results, not words. Secret 6. and you build yourself so full internally that nothing outside can move you. Secret 7. This is not the life of someone who doesn't care. This is the life of someone who cares about the right things. This is someone who has chosen peace as a practice, silence as strategy, and growth as the only real revenge. The Stoics did not teach passivity. They taught precision. They taught you to conserve your energy for what matters, and release everything else. And when you do that, when you truly do that, the people who tried to control you with their provocations discover something unsettling. They don't have you anymore. They never did. There's a version of you that the world hasn't met yet. The version who doesn't flinch when people come at them. The version who doesn't explain themselves to everyone who questions them. The version who doesn't need the last word, because their life is the last word. The version who is so rooted in who they are that the storms of other people's chaos just pass around them. That version isn't some distant, idealized fantasy. That version is just you, with practice. The Stoics weren't special people born without pain or provocation. Marcus Aurelius dealt with betrayal, war, grief, and disease. Epictetus was a slave who had no physical freedom whatsoever. Seneca survived exile and political persecution. They were not exempt from suffering. They were just committed to not letting suffering, or the people who tried to cause it, dictate their inner world. And that commitment changed everything for them. It can change everything for you. Starting today. Not when your circumstances change. Not when those people finally apologize. Not when the world fully recognizes you. Today. Go quiet. Go inward. Go to work. Let them wonder what happened to you. Let them talk to the silence you left behind. Let them lose control in the vacuum your peace creates. And you keep building. Steady. Unshakable. Unmoved. That is the Stoic way. And it is the most powerful way to live. Please subscribe for more.